Hello, good morning, good evening, depending on which time zone you're at, and welcome to Business Process Testing in SAP Ecosystem Webinar. I am Nikhil Sharma. I am Product Manager for Qentinel Pace, and here is Joona.
Yeah, hi, I'm Joona Sinisalo, Product Specialist and Test Automation and RPA Developer at Qentinel.
Yeah, so we welcome you one more time. And the agenda for today is we talk about Qentinel as a company, so a brief introduction around the company, talking about testing in SAP ecosystem, then touching on full potential of test automation, as in what we mean with test automation at large, especially in Qentinel, talking about Qentinel Pace, which is our cloud-based product. And then towards the end, Joona will show us a super excellent demo.
Yes.
All right. So Qentinel is a robotic software testing company. So we are based out of Finland. We have also offices in Germany, in Düsseldorf, and then in Chicago in the USA. We are around 140 people. That's the current number, but we are growing. So this number changes every month. And right, I mean, I take extreme pride in saying that our work impact is around 500 million people's daily life, including a lot of audience who are listening to us. We probably have impacted your life as well. We work because we believe that by improving the quality of software, we're actually towards the end improving the quality of life. And then we also work with our partners. So we have partners in the States. We have Mconta there, Dragon Spears, and then in the UK we have SBL. And as I mentioned earlier, we have Qentinel's own office or operations in Düsseldorf in Germany. So a few quick things. If you have a question, then on the bottom right of your screen you have a chat button, and then when you pop that open, there is a question mark. So you click on the question mark and ask questions there, and we'll address all the questions towards the end of this webinar. Sorry. All right. So testing in SAP ecosystem and challenges. So basically, like how I see this as the businesses are more and more dependent on the software that is actually running them. So you have a crucial business processes that are running through actually an IT landscape, which is complex, which has many applications talking to each other, integrating with each other. And what is important for you is that whatever is happening in this landscape, so if there are updates, changes in configurations and whatnot, which often happens to happen at different release cycles, that of all these things that are happening, your business crucial processes are always in good health. So for example, your procure to invoice is always in good health. Your end customers get what they want, and also you get the billing part in place. What do you see, Joona? Like, how do you pursue SAP ecosystem or business process testing?
Yeah, so business process testing differs a bit from the normal software test automation. So the business process testing is testing the whole process end to end and checking that the input and output is correct versus normal software product test automation, which usually tests some component or some large system and verifies those systems.
Yeah, so I mean, you should have testing also in those functional components, but when we talk about end-to-end, we talk about the whole business process from point A to point B in that IT landscape. Let's look at a few of our customer cases, look at their challenges. For example, Ponsse, which is quite a renowned name in Finland. They make these excellent forest harvesters, and their business depend on tens of IT applications coming in harmony and working together. For example, spare parts, inventory work, supervision, and whatnot. The other is our lovely Finnish Taxation Office, who takes our taxes and also give us tax return well in time. So while they were modernizing their applications or their IT, they realized that just kind of the end user, target user is 5 million people. So how to test, thinking about all those people who are going to actually access this application, fill in individual information, So the amount of regression testing was just enormous. And the third is Metserve. It's another Finnish company. It's focused on mining industry, but a big part of their business also come from service sector. And they have like a web store where you can order spare parts for the machines. And that web store is actually built on SAP Hybris and R3 as a backend. And then they have 150 resellers. And for every reseller in a geographic location, the configurations are different. So if I would log in from, let's say, India, or you log in from South Africa, you see different prices, different specification of the spare parts. And now for every feature to be put into this web store, you want to make sure that all these 150 variations work. So these are challenges, typical challenges in the industries, but this could also translate to financial sector, or you name it. I mean, I think the business processes are they are crucial, and the challenges are typical in this area.
Yeah, for me, I think for those client cases, all the big challenges are the same. So the integration of large systems and components, and the regression testing when something changes, and also the scalability of the systems.
Yeah.
So those are all the challenges that need to be kind of solved in those cases.
That's actually, you summed it up well. So my thoughts were all around these three slides. You summed it really well. Thank you for that. Now, since you are a test automation expert, I have some small experience of test automation myself. I'm curious to know, like, for you, how do you see test automation? What is it for you?
When you're thinking about it in a simple form, it's automating tests, but it's more than that. So basically, it's allowing people who are previously done testing to do something else and be more creative. So it releases resources, and it also produces data that we can utilize and analyze, and use kind of metrics to analyze the quality of the product.
Right.
So it's just more than automating manual test cases.
Yeah. So I think, of course, we all agree that the big part of it is just that manual testing can't just keep up. It's like how the number of applications that are pushed into market, and the amount of testing, rigorous testing it needs. It's just the manual testing becomes the bottleneck there. For me personally, you mentioned about the analysis part, but for me, it's also the key of a test automation is also like the automation of environments. So as in where you will actually run the test cases, or where you will actually host the system under test.
Yeah.
And the automation of that, so you can kind of spin those environments and kind of also kill them, so they are always in good health, and they're sane, so to say. But also, I think one automation, or part of test automation, is actually generating the test cases. And when you have generated test cases, then also generating the data, which is then fed into those test cases. That's another thing.
Yeah.
And once then you have run those test cases in the automated environments and with automated execution, kind of figuring out what are the bugs and reporting those bugs automatically, using the data, as you mentioned, to actually analyze, and then implementing machine learning or artificial intelligence on top of the analysis to actually give you some kind of direction that how is your quality going to be, so you can kind of take preemptive actions. Yeah, so what we see is like that, as I think we covered before, like the testing has become the number one bottleneck in software production. So if you think about the software development, and you put that into, or the whole IT and software into two verticals, we would think them of like software development teams whose key role is actually to push new features out as soon as they can with high quality. And then for IT operations, which is the topic of today, mostly like, or that when these things are happening, when the changes are being made, how to ensure that the business processes are running. They're running uninterruptedly. And we also see that these two things are coming together, as in, well, of course, in the DevOps world, these two things are coming together. Everything from how the ecosystems are working, You might have a SAP application, then you have thousands of applications around it which are integrated into your main SAP application. Now those other applications, you can think of them as software development teams. So they want to push value fast, and you are at the business and you want to make sure, okay, these guys are delivering software and new features really fast, and how do I make sure that everything is sane and my business is running smooth?
Yeah.
So I have a question for you here then, Jona, that let's say you want to move faster than you are currently, as in when it comes to your business, and you also want to be sure that you are, like when you're pushing something out, it's safer than before. But the big challenge for you becomes like you just can't test fast enough. You have so much to test before you can push out a release. Now, I was reading a research where they researched on the number of companies or percentage of companies which are using still or rely basically on manual testing for large applications like SAP or Salesforce or Oracle Fusion. And they came out with a number. And what would your guess be for that number, like as a percentage?
Yeah, I think it would be like maybe 50%.
Yeah, well, your guess is more pessimistic than mine, but still it's quite optimistic. I was thinking it would be around 30%, but actually the results show that it's 82% of large solutions that actually rely on manual testing.
Okay.
And that was, for me, it was an eye-opener, because we sit here in a test automation house and we think everyone has it because we do it all the time.
Yeah, it's a quite big number when you are used to test automation, and kind of so many companies are still relying so much on manual testing.
Yeah, and I mean this actually kind of puts these 18% and 82% in two boxes. Like these 82% then tend to get slower by time. They can't push in more releases out. They can't be as ensured about their business processes as the rest 18%. And I think over a period of time, we might see a shift in shift in these companies where the 18% who have this competitive advantage of actually being faster and safer might overdo this 82%. But this is like a random guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So when thinking about this challenge, so what has been Qentinel's approach to this?
Well, Qentinel has in past provided professional services, and we still do provide professional services. And then Qentinel Pays is our product business. So what we have done earlier is that for large institutions or large companies, we do these test automation projects where test automation experts like you, they go and they build everything from scratch. So they kind of put in the version control in place. They put the CI/CD pipelines in place. They build for you automation interface, which could be like a library, or do set up environments for you and everything. And that typically took us between 3 to 4 to 7 to 8 months, depending on the extent of that project. And then we came up with the idea that, hey, why do this over and over again for every customer? And then we came up with the idea of Qentinel Pays. So why can't, if we are to do all these things over and over again, let's make a product which is ready to be deployed from cloud, and which can scale and do those things out of box, which we are doing it as custom-based projects. So we came up with Qentinel Pays. So Qentinel Pays is our robotic software testing product. I think you are more of an expert in that than I do, but I'll talk it from a more product management point of view. So how we develop it, what we think about it. So for us, we decided early on that we were gonna keep 3 key strategies as like the foundation pillars or cornerstones, if you will, how are you gonna call them, and do all the development and and make these things by actually kind of keep us on our track, so we don't like run around while and start developing random things. And those are efficiency, scalability, and predictability. So essentially, efficiency comes from the fact that Base is a SaaS product, so it's very easy to provision. You provision it from a cloud. You can kind of depending on if a company has an Azure AD, you can actually just enable their Azure AD, and then they have the product. It's not like those old days when someone will come, set up a server in your premises, and then provide you with license keys. Gone are those days. Then once you have that, the environments you just spin them up. I think you'll show in your demo how to spin up like a robot.
Yeah, so it actually builds the testing environment automatically. So
yeah.
You
So
don't need to do that yourself anymore.
our customers don't need to worry, and then we take care of the health of the environment. And then one more key efficiency comes from the fact how we write test cases. So you're gonna talk about base words, but base words are our keywords. The keywords which are very powerful, and they are like steps which a manual tester would take. And then the key thing about base words is that they are platform agnostic. So you can, I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but you can use Qentinel Base to actually test mobile applications native, so iOS, Android, desktop thick client, so SAP, GUI, or then web application. And with the base words, the idea is so that if as a manual tester you would just click somewhere, why would you need 4 or 5 different keywords to actually deal with different applications? So you'll just have a click keyword which would then click irrespective of if you're on a web application or a mobile application. That's the efficiency part, and scalability comes from the fact that you can scale these robots.
Yeah.
You kind of pay for what you use. It's consumption based. As I mentioned, it's cross-platform. You can use it for web or mobile or GUI, desktop GUI. And then the predictability part comes from the fact that that's something we are not going to touch today, a lot of it, but briefly, along your software development, you're generating a lot of data. And predictability is about tying that data up and making sense of it, as in to be able to so we have implemented artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms on top of it to actually kind of be able to predict what your quality is going to be, and that you are able to make preemptive actions based on the information that you get from there. But that's all about the theory. I'm sorry and you should just shut me up if I'm too far in the theory part, but I'll leave the stage for you to demo.
Okay. Okay. And sharing the slides, and let's go to Qentinel Base. Okay, so as Nikhil mentioned, Qentinel Base is a cloud-based robotic software testing platform, and you can access it by going base.qentinel.com, and this is the login page. So you can use Base credentials to log in, or log in with Azure AD credentials. So for this demo today, we are using our demo credentials, and I'm logging in to Qentinel Base. So this is now the first view when you log in with this organization. So this is our dashboard in Qentinel Base, and I will explain that later. But let's go to right, where we have the main buttons. So projects, then quality intelligence, and user management. Let's go to projects. So here's a list of projects for this organization, and we have this one SAP ecosystem project now available. So let's go there.
Can I add a little bit here?
Yes.
In certain Base, you have an organization who owns the subscription, and then you can have as many projects as you want, and then all those projects have access control.
Yeah.
So I think you'll talk about the access control.
Yeah. So this is now the front page for a project. And here is information about the project. And on the right, you can see permissions. So there are viewing rights and editing rights for every project. And those can be managed by the admins or who has editor rights for that project. So here is the robot icon and the quality intelligence dashboard icon. So let's go to the robots. So this is now the robots view of the project, and you can now see the dashboard also here. So the dashboard is containing the data from test runs. And for example, here is the pass rate from latest run, build number, then graph about test results. And this is all modifiable. So you can build the dashboard in a way you want. So it contains all the data that's relevant to you. So this is now the dashboard for this demo project. Then the concept of robots. So for this project, here is one robot, SAP S/4HANA, and the robot is kind of the digital worker for the project. So it executes the tests according to the instructions given in the test suite. And the test suite is here, the S/4HANA on Chrome end-to-end. And this is very scalable, so we can add multiple robots here, which could have multiple test suites, and which all could have even thousands of test cases. So I can show how to add a robot. So let's add another robot here. Let's give it some name. Some description. And then there are two choices. So the running environment, and the default is cloud, which means that it runs in Qentinel-based cloud. And then the other choice is static. So this basically means that the robot can run in the client environment. For example, if the client has a machine in their premises, so the robot runs there, and it's only controlled through Qentinel base from cloud.
So for if I would think it from a end customer point of view, it's like if I have I can't have a bank, but let's say I work in a bank and we have stricter security policies where we just don't want anything to go outside in the cloud. So that would be an option for me to kind of have a static robot, which means I will have a machine somewhere in my premises, and then basically you will control those robots from Pace, and also you can view the results back in Pace and do everything that you could do also with the cloud robot, but that robot is just in my premises, so I don't have to worry about the cloud thing, let's say.
So it can be in such way that nothing kind of sensitive information moves from the target system to cloud.
Okay.
So the cloud is only controlling the robot runs.
Right.
Okay. And then the second option here is robot type. So default is web, but we can also have mobile testing robots.
And this is where we integrate with then browser stack of the bar, the device, known device farms in mobile sector.
Yeah. And here is also option to give variables for the robot. So let's save. And now we have the new robot. So let's see the test suite. So the SAP S/4HANA robot has one test suite, And from test suite view, we can see the suite runs. So what is the start time, result, and Git branches. And then there are the more specific results view, where we can see the test case name. In this demo, there is this first test case, procure to invoice, and there is the status and also video recording available. And on the upper side, there is the possibility to do a manual run from here. So just clicking this and the robot starts to run the test suite. And here are options to do a video recording of the run, so that can be viewed later if there are some problems and we don't know what it was, and check the video what happened.
Yeah, I think it's a great tool, because often when something fails, when I was test automation engineer, then something fails, you get a screenshot, and well, you do also get screenshot in place.
Yeah.
But why we came up with this video recording is that when something fails, it is often like a step before than the actual screenshot, what went wrong.
Yeah.
And that's something now you can follow when you have the video recording enabled.
Yeah. And test runs can be also scheduled. So here is the schedule button. And here we can choose when to run this robot. So we can, for example, select daily and then time of day when the robot runs. And it's there below in front format. And also the option to choose whether or not to record video of the run.
Yeah. So I think, like, typically in a CI/CD pipeline, you would not hire someone to go click on the run button.
Yeah.
You'd either schedule it, or then you will send an API call to base saying that, hey, you know what, there was a Git push in the version control, so run the robot and check if everything is, or the smoke tests are okay, or regression is okay.
Yes. Okay, and the test suite itself is actually test scripts, and it's a project in version control. And in Qentinel base, we can also edit those test scripts. So I will show you the editor. Okay, now it shows here the folder tree of the test suite project. And here we can go under folder tests and select this test script. Now, here is the same test case that I showed before, and here it is implemented using base words. So as mentioned before, these are the platform agnostic keywords that can be used to access, for example, web applications, websites, mobile applications. And they are done in a way that they are easy to use, and test cases are really easy to write, and they are simple.
Yeah, I think so. What I would add here is that the things, and so you have the test case name is the procure to invoice, and then you have on the left, which is the blue's text color. They are the page words. So I think click text, click element, these are the page words, and then on the right you have arguments that they take. So on your screen you see, I don't know, type text into supplier box, and you type this 1730004 times 01, and then it interacts with the web application and put it there.
Yeah.
So, but platform agnosticity, I think one of the good example is if you of a Slack application, because you have Slack application and you did a cool demo once on Slack. So you have a web application and a desktop and mobile application. So if I were to do a click text on Joona's name on either of these applications, whether running on web or mobile or desktop, I would just use click text Joona, and that password would work on all the platforms. So for me as a person who wants to learn testing, I just need to remember maybe 10 or 20 of those passwords, and I can survive pretty far away.
Yeah, and one thing to mention is also that we have a model-based testing tool that actually can generate these test scripts.
So I don't need to write them.
Yeah, so you can basically have flow charts, and the tool reads that what kind of flow it is, and then generates test scripts from that.
Right. Now you're talking about confirming.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, we'll talk about it.
Okay, let's go back.
I think it's one of the key thing in SAP testing or business process testing is like a lot of information is with the business process owners. But the end tester might not actually know what to test because he or she doesn't have either the documentation or the knowledge of the subject matter expert. So with this kind of non-coder friendly way of writing test case, you can enable basically a business process owner or a subject matter expert to create these test cases, or at least read or understand them, because to me they look like English.
Yeah. Okay, let's see the execution of test case. So the first test case, procure to invoice. So this is a process in SAP S/4HANA Cloud, and it's approximately 2.5 minutes. So let's watch it.
So this is a recording of the test case that you ran. Okay.
Yeah. So first we log on to SAP. So here are some waiting times. We wait for the components to load.
So the robot is now executing the script that you just showed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the robot is now accessing these elements in SAP. And there are different technologies behind the keywords that enables us to access these elements in, for example, SAP. And we could also use machine vision-based technology,
right,
if we want. So, for example, native applications.
That would, so for native application, you would access it by taking pictures and realizing where the location is and clicking them. But can you use space words for the end user? You don't have to worry about the machine vision and 10 different kind of technologies that are under it. But can you use the machine vision also on web?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so here we are creating a purchase order. Robot is adding the supplier data, and then checking that all the data is correct, and then creating a new purchase order item and doing the same, inserting data and checking.
I have some point done this using Selenium, for example, and the script looked really horrible. All the XPaths and dynamic IDs and whatnot.
Yeah, so this is the same script that you saw in the editor, so is running now on this demo.
And a lot of time when I have demoed it, people often ask them, okay, so where is your object mapping? So when you say click text ABC, what is ABC? And I say, well, there is ABC is what is on the screen. There is nothing behind ABC. There is no ABC equals to a long XPath. No, it's just ABC that's available on your screen. And we use the search algorithms to find it.
Yeah, now we are searching for the created purchase order and creating a receipt. Okay, and that was the end of this test case. Let's go back to base. Maybe we go.
Can you show the detailed log reports, because we are also keeping a history of all the runs, and it's good to see like how the reports look like and what are the keywords that actually we ran.
Yeah, so here is a easily accessible log file that's created from every test run, and we can click it open.
So this is the case that you ran?
Yeah, this is the case that ran previously. And here are the executed keywords during that test case.
Right. Cool.
Okay.
Right, so I think we can then get back to the presentation since you know how to use your mouse.
Yeah.
Could you stop sharing this and change it to the presentation part?
Yeah. Okay, now it should be visible.
So we went through the demo and then we talked about these efficiency, scalability, and predictability. Then I thought of like putting 3 customer cases as in what they have achieved with Qentinel Pace. So I think one of the most impressive is that there are like 18,000 test cases that they have, and they run it every day, and it's around 500 hours of test automation. So you have robots and suits, and you're running all of them in parallel. And then they have been tracking their maintenance efforts, and that's a very key or good metrics to track if you want to achieve a successful test automation project. And their maintenance effort over 3 years has been under 15%. And in my test automation career, I'm not saying that I was doing a bad job, but often the maintenance is such a big beast that you're looking at 60 to 70% of maintenance.
Yeah.
And it's not only the maintenance of scripts, it's also maintenance of environments and pipelines and whatnot. It's, well, I think you probably know a lot about this maintenance cost. And since we mentioned that basewords are platform agnostic in some cases, or the example I gave of Slack, you can basically run same kind of test script on different platforms. So one of our customer actually runs the same test case on iOS, Android, and web application, because the application under test is pretty much the same, you know. So from process A to B, all the steps are similar.
Yeah.
And then another customer of ours has released actually the time from 5 days to 5 hours of their release time, because they were initially relying heavily on manual testing. It was just a lot to do. And then like our lovely tax office, they have achieved what we think, I think, is the best potential of test automation. So you kind of invest once, then you have thousands of test cases, and you just run them over and over again and again as much as you can, because it's just robots, and there are no regulations so far. How much can you make a robot work? So they have been doing it years after years, and for them, the return on investment has been pretty good, because now it's cheaper for them. It has already been cheaper after a few runs. And then when you talked about the test generating test cases from the flowchart, how you said it, yeah. So we actually are we have a strategic partnership with Confirmic, and which kind of enables us to do model-based testing. So when we showed this beautiful slide, the left part of it, which is about generating test cases, generating test data, that's something you can do with Confirmic tool, which then generates the pageword test cases, which are then, you know, are executable in Qentinel Pace. And I think this is going to become, this is already a big thing. It's going to become even bigger, because industries are now talking about hyper automation, where you can't just keep track of these test cases and processes. That will become a model-based world. So you would rather know a model than a process. Hey, time for takeaways. So I mean, as we mentioned before, like you would really focus on kind of automating your critical business processes, and you would run them as many times with every small change, and even you can run them for just like health check if everything is in place. Then reduce waste is around, like, you know, there is no test automation which is gonna be all foolproof and break-proof.
Yeah.
Of course, your test automation gonna break when things change in the ecosystem, because otherwise, if someone promises you such a test automation, And it's like hiring a developer who's going to develop your code without a bug. That's, I think, just not possible. And then you want to design for an interconnected landscape. So with all this migration towards S/4HANA, I think the big idea is that you will digitalize the parts of your business which were not earlier digitalized. You don't want to end up with a solution which can only do one thing well. You want to have a solution which can do a lot of things well. For example, some companies end up with having a mobile application testing solution, and then they have to buy another one for web application, for example. And then, as you mentioned, I think test automation is just more than just automating test cases. Or did I miss something?
Yeah. So, well, quality is a competitive advantage, so it should be utilized.
Yeah. You shouldn't run away from testing and ensuring good quality. And then these are ecosystems that we love to automate. Right? You love to automate SAP, as I saw, as you demoed. Right, at Qentinel, we say that your business is only as good as the software driving it. So that was all we had to say, and I can see 3 comments in the. One of them is, "Hi guys, hello back. Where are our test cases that the robot will execute?" Yeah, so your so can I say?
Those are in Git, in version control system.
Yeah. So we integrate with GitHub. So you can host them on Qentinel's hosted GitLab. You can host them on a public GitHub or public GitLab, or you can have your own custom Git, and we actually can fetch the test cases from there.
Yeah.
So it really depends on how your version control is. If you have one in place, then we can utilize it. If you don't have, then we can offer you one. What did I miss there? But that's a best practice to keep your test cases also in version control. You don't do negative testing using Qentinel Base? Well, we sure do, but for this demo, we didn't do any negative testing.
Yeah, but we can do.
Yeah, and it's also like your practice. You can use the product to do negative testing. It's based on your how are your processes and what you want to achieve with the product.
Yeah.
So any more questions? We have 3 minutes left. I will check on the QA mode as well. Like if we check on the QA mode. Now we're on the public side. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So there are same questions. And you can always write us at info@qentinel.com. If you have questions, you can write them there, or if you wanna know more about the product, ask for a personal demo, that's doable. Our website is www.qentinel.com. No surprises there. What else? Did we miss something? And then we're gonna share the recordings for people who did not attend. And that's about it. So, we close it then. Okay, all right. Thank you guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.